As this ball comes across here, we are talking about a 4v6 in this area. And we're talking about Manchester City. The best footballing team are playing out. They should be able to deal with this situation of Arsenal's press. But this is a team so lacking in confidence and belief now. They can't do the things that they've done for years. That's a simple pass into Bernardo Silva. Then you turn and you're at Arsenal's defence. But as soon as he comes in on the right foot, that jump from Trossard is fantastic. Again, a player lacking confidence in Akanji loses the ball. But now you've then got a 5v5 because Trossard has jumped here to make it a 5v5. But why is it now level? Because the goalkeeper's here. Before he was involved high on the ball, this time he's deep, he can't receive the ball. So brilliant from Trossard and Arsenal to make that 5v5 and then go and get the goal. I'm going to look at this this is a clip in the first half, and it probably says a lot about it, in that there's a lot of possession for Manchester City. Manchester City are not at their best. Even on the ball, they're not. But they were allowed to basically get on the ball, make some passes, get a little bit of confidence. This is a Manchester City team now who know they can't cope with intensity or physicality. They can't deal with counter-attacks. But I think Arsenal allowed them to gain confidence and a little bit of belief in the game without creating a lot of chances. I thought they were there for the taking early on, especially going 1-0. But we now go to the second half, and when we talk about teams being in a good position, compact-wise, from back to front, that is fantastic. And Gianfranco will know that was typical Arrigo Sacchi, from defender to striker, hard to play through them. What's also interesting, distance-wise, is when you see that compactness, is where the centre-back is to the goal line. Now, that is 41 yards. Great position up against Manchester City. Difficult to play through the lines and not too close to your goal. So remember that number that we're talking about, that figure. So as this goes on, Manchester City start playing. Now, this is not great, fast attacking football. It's walking football. Bernardo Silva's walking. Foden's walking. Kovacic is doing the same. Mamouche is just picking the ball up in this position. This is at full speed. I haven't slowed this down. So there's no real great intensity or football for Manchester City. A crossfield pass, again, Lewis Skelly coming over, no great deal of intensity. It then comes into Foden. Now it quickens up. Now the ball comes in, Haaland scores, and your two centre-backs, we saw them 41 yards away from the goal. 30 seconds later, they're 6 yards away from the goal. It wasn't great play from Manchester City. Arsenal allowed them to push them back. And again, I just feel it's a little bit of a negative sort of mentality when they're in that winning position. And I don't want to feel too negative because it's been a great day and a great win.
But that goal seemed to wake them up.
It did. And listen, I just said before, Liverpool had a bit of luck at Bournemouth. I think Arsenal had a little bit of luck in how quickly they get back in front. There was no time for the stadium to get nervous or Manchester City to build on that goal that they'd got. But just a maybe slight change here is that we see the centre-back here, Gabriel, plays a lovely ball down the line, but then comes running out. Maybe that's something to do. We're level now. We need to go and get a goal. He's higher up the pitch. Manchester City lose it. We highlighted yesterday, if Phil Foden passes that ball in here, Arsenal may have a problem. That's a little bit of luck that you get, and then this goal goes in. Deflection, and you know what? You're back in front. But the big thing that I felt was they didn't make the same mistake. Look at this. This ball goes long now. The defenders are pushing up the pitch. This is in the build-up to the third goal. So look at this now. As it comes down, 6v6 around the ball. They've got that cage around the ball. They're not sitting back. They're not inviting them on. They're not making the same mistake they made at 1-0, at 2-1. So there's 6v6 here to try and win the second ball. But behind it, look, it's man for man at the back. High up the pitch, pushing on and being aggressive, which I feel is the best Arsenal version. This is the version of Arsenal that I saw last season, which was very close to winning the title. And I think they've got a much greater chance of winning the title if this is the Arsenal that we see week in, week out.
Especially with this young man in such form, Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah, he was fantastic. But again, talking about the positivity, Gabriel, he's almost playing left wing now. It's 2-1. He goes past Declan Rice, and as this ball comes into this little guy here, we said a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Football, he could be the guy who unlocks things. We thought it would be in this position, maybe with an assist, with a pass, but this time he actually gets the goal. So you've got your centre-back left wing, you've got your left-back between the lines, and then we move on and he gets the goal, and then he's got his... Haaland in person.
The Haaland celebration, as it'll be forever known.
Talk about the Arsenal.
Yeah.
How was that?
You know what?
5-1 win over Manchester City.
It was obviously it's a welcomed win because, like Liverpool, you have to stay in touch.
You're TV righty about this now.
No,
You're doing the
no. Let me finish, Kels. Liverpool, you have to stay in touch, but City come in there, a little bit of a resurgence in how they were playing. They started to get it, but what I saw with Arsenal yesterday was a team that, when they take the chances, even though Kai missed a great chance, unfortunately for him, they are superlative in what they do in respect of the confidence that it gives the team, how well the team played, how well they pressed. You know, they never let up at all. And even with, I've listened to people talking about Kai Havertz in the first chance, and they're saying he wasn't confident enough to take it on himself. He squared it to Martin. I've seen him so many occasions where a player goes through, because they're in low form, low esteem, and what they're doing, Kaz and Darren, that they take a shot what they shouldn't, and you think, easy, I square it to him, we go 1-0 up, we get into the game, everybody gets the confidence, and I might get one later. And that's what happened. But what I saw was Arsenal take chances and did not give them a sniff, didn't give them a chance, apart from the one
the goal that they scored,
which was a great movement from him. But in the main, with everything what happened there, obviously, Miles Lewis Skelly and you know, Yvonne Yeri coming on to 17-year-old and 18-year-old thrown in at this end of what's going on with Arsenal, and then the team playing like that against a proper team in City, and what, you know, that's the second time that's happened to Pep, right? 5, he's in 5. It was magnificent. It was brilliant. The stadium was unbelievably rocking last night. It was brilliant.
Do you think it's a significant win in terms of the title race?
No, I still think it's Liverpool's. I really do. But I think, it's still, the hunt is going on, maybe with other competitions that they might be focused on, but Arsenal have the same situation. Maybe they might drop points here and there, but I think you're looking at Liverpool, you look at the squad depth, you know, it's in their hands. From my opinion, it's theirs to lose. But Arsenal have to do what they have to do, keep everything in control as much as they can, and keep putting the pressure on. But ultimately, it's for Liverpool to drop. But, you know, if you're in Arsenal's camp, you're like, these are the standards we want. We want to go and beat into the end. If anything else happens, great. But they're also in the competitions as well. And I think they've got a great chance in the other competitions. Champions League, I think they've got a great chance because of how they defend. So, look, it's, like I said, for me, Liverpool are the team to beat, but you just got to stay in the hunt.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you think that game told us about Arsenal's title chances, Darren?
I think they're still in it. I still think, personally, I don't know if you can call anything in January or February. I think you get to April, Easter, so Alex used to always say, and then you can start to think about who's in it or not. But what it spoke to was their determination, their character, because it could have been easy after all the setbacks they've had. An old Arsenal would have given up, but this Arsenal is really, really strong. What was quite key about the goals, it's the first time that Guardiola in Premier League history, well, since he's been in the Premier League, has conceded 5 goals from open play. And it was the quality of those goals. I don't think it takes away the need for a number 9, but I do think that it speaks to the fact that there are players in the Arsenal team who can take responsibility, and the way they did it was fantastic.
Yeah, and it puts Arsenal, as you say, in pole position to capitalise on anything that may come their way.
Yeah.
Look, you mentioned Miles Lewis Skelly there. He's been getting rave reviews for his performances, but then there's the history with Haaland, isn't there, from the last fixture, where Haaland at the end of it said, in effect, who are you? And told him to stay humble. And there was all that kind of...
He told our manager to stay humble.
Told the manager to stay humble, but told Miles Lewis Skelly, asked Miles Lewis Skelly who he was at the end. So when he scored, he did the Haaland celebration.
I love it.
Ill-advised or understandable?
No. I think that for me, you know, in his moment, that's what he wants to do in the so-called rivalry that we've got with City, which I don't believe we're rivals with City. City are way ahead of us in respect to what we're doing, but because we've kind of caught them up and we're trying to chase them down, I think they're more rivals with Liverpool. Now that all of a sudden it's a rivalry, it's not a rivalry, it's going to build into a rivalry. And these things are what help build a rivalry. Like what Erling Haaland said to him, what Erling Haaland said to our manager, is something that's in that dressing room. It's in there and it's part of what's going on. It's part, you know what, it's good to see players a little bit more free to feel like they can do something like that. He now, like I said, Kels, he's going to have to deal with what comes with, you can give it, so then now, that's what he's got to deal with. Yeah, I could take that, give it to me, because when I get my chance, I'm going to give it. This is all started by City. So now Arsenal are reacting with this. They've got a song as well. I'm seeing now. So
When you not on here, you're not saying it.
They've got a song. Oh, do you understand what I'm saying, Kels?
But Karen, you've been a young player coming in and playing against established players who've won, trophies, major trophies in the game as Erling Haaland has. What's your take on it? On the kind of
I was more like Miles. I was quiet, like didn't speak off the pitch, but I would have given it as well. But you got to back it up.
That's the thing.
And so I definitely had people that say to me, like, who are you? And like, look at me, I'm like skinny and little and whatever. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I would have given it. I was cocky. But you need that element. You need that. And maybe as you get older, you don't necessarily need to do that. But I love that. He did it against Spurs. I love that we are seeing a personality. We're seeing a character in him. Yeah. I love that about him, Miles. So I think as long as he continues to back it up, he's got the quality.
Gabriel, it's different, isn't it? Where he's kind of a more Premier League player, and he's shown in the Premier League winners' medals.
That is what it's about, because that's what you do. You give people stick. I remember, like Roy Keane will always say, he said, "I've got a cabinet at home full of losers' medals." It drove me on. It's the thing. What you do, it gets you going. But what I would say with Erling Haaland, and I was hearing people saying it's disrespectful because he's doing that, but you have to give respect to earn respect. And I think that what Erling Haaland done is open himself up to, if you can speak like that to an 18-year-old who's making his debut, just coming in, and you can speak to me, then why should I show you any respect? Yeah. It's kind of like that's how it should be. And so when they play, let it rain, man.
For us in the media, it's sensational. We love it. We love the subplots. We love the beef.
We love the beef.
Honestly, we love the beef. But, and like you said, if you bring it, you have to back it.
That's all it is. That's all
everyone's watching everywhere. They will be saying the same thing, whether you're an Arsenal fan and you're happy about what happened, whether you're a City fan and you're happy with what Guardiola said afterwards, because you're thinking, you wait until we meet you next time. Yeah, whether it's in the Champions League.
I tell you what, if this had been the 80s or the 90s or even earlier, that would have been a very much, we'll see you next time on the pitch. It could have been pretty brutal, but it's not where we are at this stage. So Miles Lewis-Skelly gets the goal. He gets the chance to kind of have his say back, if you like, to Erling Haaland, and we'll see where that takes them towards the end of the season. You enjoyed it, and I tell you what, the Arsenal fans enjoyed seeing you at the Emirates, didn't they? You got a big send-off at the end of the coverage.
I know, it was really nice. What's good is because you don't get to see them often. You know what I mean? I don't really do too many outside broadcasts and that, so it's only once in a while. So just to see them, and it's nice.
Did they ask you for the photo, or did you ask them?
I was asking them for photos, but you know what happens? You go across. This is what happens. You go across and you see a little, and then it just comes down, and then you just feel it. It makes you feel. It's nice. Yeah. It's nice. You know what I mean? They know how much I love them.
You lost your hat there.
I nearly did. He's tried to take it. Yeah. He tried to take it.
It's nice to celebrate with people that want to celebrate with you. It's a really nice. It's a nice moment. That's what it's about.
We went through a lot together, me and those fans, especially the away fans. So to still get the love, it's always nice. But it's just nice that they're backing the team how we want the team backed now, because it can go very toxic very quickly.
Do you know what? It could have been even better for Arsenal, because for Liverpool, this was meant to be a game that was a bit of a tricky fixture for them. This could have been a bump in the road against Bournemouth. And while it wasn't a classic performance, it was effective.
But that's what's great with Liverpool, is that we'll always speak about the fact that but when you're going for the title and you're up there and you're winning, you win games like that. We saw what happened with Darwin Núñez coming on at the end there and scoring. Who was that against? That was against Brentford. We've seen how they're capable of doing that, and Bournemouth at the moment are playing very well. But Liverpool, defensively, and we know what they've got going forward and how calm and everything is with it. They just seem so in control of it, Kels. And this is why people are saying, like Kaz is right to say, they just look comfortable. They look like they're in go mode, And I can't see who is going to make them stumble.
That Manchester City have got coming up across their next 7 games. They've got the game coming up against Leyton Orient, obviously, in the FA Cup. Real Madrid twice, Newcastle, Liverpool, Tottenham, again, unknown quantity, and Nottingham Forest. I mean, they are significant. Games. I mean, this feels almost season-defining for Manchester City this week.
When I watch City is how poor they are in transition. And I look at Real Madrid and think their front line, and look at Newcastle, you know, how good those teams are when they win the ball, you know. I mean, Real Madrid, we've seen them in the Champions League, they don't really care for defending. Same as Barca, they'll just go, we'll outscore
and
you.
the results haven't been there, but they're still, as you said, very dangerous.
I'm going to commit heresy now and disagree with you guys in so much as, I know, don't chuck me out. Let me just say it first.
No, man.
But I think that Real Madrid's defending is underrated. Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they're guys who provide the protection for Rudiger and Militao.
Or Asensio, no, that Asensio's good as well, that Asensio.
Exactly, and I think that because historically Real Madrid have been quite a free-scoring team, that defensive side of their game is underrated. But the irony is that Camavinga and Tchouaméni are the kind of player that City need. That's why they bid for Nico Gonzalez today, because I think they know they cannot possibly hope to achieve anything if they don't have protection for the back four. They haven't got a player that can provide it with Rodri not available. I'm surprised they haven't maybe made a move for Edison at Atalanta. Maybe Atalanta have said, look, we're in the Champions League, we don't want to sell him. But they've got to get protection for the back four, because without that, they can't possibly beat Real Madrid or finish in the top four.
And that's the thing, is that is their Champions League aspirations then for the season, if they don't beat Real Madrid. And then they've got those really tough, I mean, I know they've got Leyton Orient in the FA Cup, but they've got those really, really tough games coming up against the teams around them in the league.
And watching them as well, there was a lot of play where it wasn't penetrative at all. It wasn't. This is what I'm saying. Like Haaland, people talking about the touches. He must be so frustrated, but then he's just waiting if it comes in. That's what he's doing. If it comes in the box, hopefully I'll get. Because they're not releasing the ball quick enough. You look at Foden, and his contribution it was so lacking output, creativity.
I thought City were better when they played Chelsea and went direct. Just went back to front quick and, you know, got it into them, the higher players, a lot quicker. But then obviously the game becomes stretched. And that's when I mentioned they're so vulnerable then in transition. And it's like physically they just get out. Yesterday they got outran against PSG. They got outran. The physical element of the game is like, you know, 2 seasons ago they were all 6 foot and you couldn't get past them. You couldn't beat them physically. They were quick. Like, they've just, unfortunately, football sometimes works in transitions and periods, and they're out that cycle and they've got to go to a new one now.
Are we back to questioning whether City finish in the top 4 yet?
I think we are now.
I think we are,
I think we are, because they just don't know that protection. Get that player, I think they do.
That didn't look convincing yesterday.